Some of you already know that, but I'll tell you that anyway, since Carol just wanted to sit down instead of coming up here. Carol's done an outstanding job, by the way. One thing I want to make a comment about is the 4,000 hours, Rachel, that has been with the fair. I'd like to know how many hours you spent as president, because that had to be before you were president, 4,000 hours. You know, it rained last night and the fair was in town. That's almost a gimme. The farmers would have loved for Rachel to have scheduled this thing a month ago so they could have had the rain a month ago. But what is a fair? You know, it's a fair where people get together, they have fun, they fellowship, they renew old acquaintances. Business people get together and they talk, and we have a lot of fun and fellowship. Gloucester County Fair is really unique. It's celebrating its 40th anniversary. It's unique in a way in as much as there was people a long time ago that had dreams and visions. In 1970, there was a reorganizational meeting for the Gloucester County Fair. That's the first time that I met Rachel. At that point in time, we ended up with Louise Bond being a president for several years. We had the first fair at T.C. Walker School. It was there for 2 years, and at that point in time, we moved down to what is now known as Page Middle School. You know, fairs don't just happen. You know, you look around, there's a lot of activities, and a lot of activities been talked about already, with beauty pageants and Dunkin' booths and just the races that went on and just all the things that happened and the shows and everything that happened. I recall there's been a lot of nights before the fair ever started that we would spend hours and all night preparing for the fair, not counting the time it took to prepare for the fair ahead of time in months. Because when this one ends, next year starts, and it takes that kind of preparation. When this fair is over, literally, we used to spend all night tearing down the fair. And we didn't do that by ourselves. It took a community, it took organizations. You know, we can't thank enough people that dedicated their time and efforts to put all of that together. In 40 years, a lot of good people have been and dedicated a lot of time in making all this happen. But the one person that has been there, that has given a labor of love, that has taken away from their own desires and things in life from their own family, has been Rachel. You know, we had 1972. We had a committee put together by the JCs who called it the Council of Civic Organizations, because there was some things going on in the county that the community wanted to see more interest for the youth. There was some things that were happening, and they felt like that things just needed to go in a different direction. Rachel was a vital part of that. Another individual was a vital part of that too, and I'd be remiss if I just didn't mention him, Freedom Good. Freedom Good was a vital part of this fair and this organization. He was a type of individual that was a visionary. He was a motivator. That young man, and he lived and breathed and died for this community. You know, we put together as the fair some goals and things to happen. In that meeting with the Council of Civic Organizations, there was churches, there was organizations, there was individuals that came, and we ended up sending out surveys to all the churches and throughout all the county, put it in the newspaper. Gloucester Point Beach is a result of that survey that came back. Parks and Recreation is a result of that survey that came back. There was a drug abuse council put together that was a part of all of that. And Rachel was a part of every bit of that. She was involved in things to make her community a better place to live. You know, there's not enough words that can show her devotion, her dedication, the love that she had for everything that went on to put together. As a visionary with Freedom, when we talked about setting up a goal of some fair property, he went out and found different pieces of property that were close to 17. This was one of those properties that he found. we sat down together, and one of the things we wanted to try to do was have a piece of property that could be Gloucester Fair property, but could be year-round recreational facilities. For 2 years, there was sports put on throughout the community to show there was a need for community activities in sports. The Board of Supervisors approved a recreational ad hoc committee at that point in time, and Rachel was a part of that. 2 years later, they provided funding, and the Parks and Recreation became a valid part of this community and has been, as recognized several years ago, a vital part of this fair organization. And it's been great to have Carol and the Parks and Recreation to help develop it. But you know, having said all of that, and as much help as everybody has ever been, the fair would not be here today if it wasn't for the individual, the love, the dedication, devotion, just the glue that holds it all together, Rachel Burnett. You know, the word Queen of the Fair was mentioned a while ago, and let's just think about a queen bee. You've got a hive that's constantly buzzing, and it buzzes as long as the queen bee is there. Rachel, you've made this organization buzz because you've been the queen of this organization. Your love and your dedication, I hope, will never be left forgotten, because we love you, we thank you, we appreciate. Nobody will ever know how many hours you spend, because they're untold. How many times you've been woken with the telephone ringing and just things happening. We do appreciate it. You know, if you'd come forward, we've got a couple things we'd like to give this glue that holds us together, the Queen of the Fair, and we do appreciate it.